Hello folks, it's me again, Amanda Enderman, your trusty tour guide in the wonders of the wonderful city, also known as Rio de Janeiro. And on this video, you might be wondering from the title, because you see, his name is kinda hard, I believe, for people who speak only English or who don't speak Portuguese, but it's Irineu Evangelista de Souza. As a matter of fact, he is known worldwide for being one of the most famous entrepreneurs from Brazil, more specifically from the Brazilian Empire. And this is precisely what I'm going to be talking about on this very video. After all, money is what makes the world go round, as they say. And on this video, incidentally, this little sound is the one that you're gonna hear the most, because you simply can't talk about the Viscount of Mauá, as I will clarify toward the end of the video, without talking of, as Uncle Scrooge would say, my own mountain of money. But before I get right onto the theme of the video, I have to remind you that I'm currently offering walking tours through the city of Rio, and all of these tours are described on my website, which link will be in the description box below, as well as in the first place comment. So all you have to do is click there, text me via WhatsApp, that's very important, make your reservation, and let's get to know the city of Rio in person, folks! With me, Amanda Enderman, your trusted tour guide, of course. Now, without further ado, let's get right on to the theme of the video. Money makes the world go around, the world go around, the world go. Forgive me, I digress. He was born in Arroio Grande in 1813, and he simply was one of those people who is never idle. He was very active all throughout his life. He was a salesman. I forgot the word in English now, but the word in Portuguese for this is armador. He was an industrialist as well as a banker. My oh my. What happened to begin all this was that when he was 27 years old, he was in London, England, where he saw the many improvements that were taking place with the Industrial Revolution, especially with the newly established use of steam. He took very good notice of this, literally, I believe, took notes, because he imported all of these improvements to Brazil. And of course, in order to implement this in Brazil, what do you need? Money! No surprise, right? So he used money that before had been used in buying slaves. You have to remember that at this time, when he was around, slave trading had already been forbidden. So he took advantage of this in order to promote his own enterprise. As they say, while some cry, others sell tissue. And he was on the selling tissue end, of course. He knew that it's never a good idea to put all of your eggs in one basket. So aside from using money that before was used to buy slaves, he also procured other sources of funds, associating himself with English capitalists. And he established in Brazil foundries of iron and bronze. Again, I forget the word in English, but the word in Portuguese for this is serralheiras, as well as trams and public lighting. And he even introduced a submarine telegraph. I don't know if it was 20,000 leagues under sea, but it was submarine nonetheless. And he created the bank Mauá, McGregor and Company, which had branches in England, France, in the United States, in Argentina, and in Uruguay. Oh, and not forgetting, he also established railways in Brazil, which at this time were all the rage all around the world. But perhaps the most curious thing about him is that he was also responsible for the resurrection of the National Bank of Brazil. Remember, in previous videos, specifically the video welcoming the gentry in Rio and the video where I spoke about the independence of Brazil, I will leave the cards for both of them up here for you, both those of you who haven't seen it yet and those who want to refresh their memories. Back then, D.João VI, remember him, created the National Bank of Brazil in order to pay back the debt that he already had with England, because he had to escape Napoleon, and it was England that helped finance this escape. The ships necessary for that, I should say. He had to pay it back, so he created a bank. But In 1821, he was forced by the Portuguese parliament to return to Portugal. And in that, he basically took out all of the money from the bank and took it with him back to Portugal. Made quite a withdrawal. With this, no surprise at all, 8 years later, the National Bank of Brazil was no more. Because what is a bank if you don't have any money invested there? It's the same as a butcher without meat or a baker without bread. It remained dead until in 1833, the Regency approved a law which allowed for the creation of a national bank. But guess what? It didn't get out of paper because, again, it's no use creating a law that allows for the opening of a bank if you don't have what? Money. You have to have investors. And these possible investors were traumatized by the first experience where D.João VI took out all of the money from the bank, so they didn't want to invest. It was a no-go. Finally, in 1851, the Baron of Mauá, or Irineu Evangelista de Souza, came into the scene and he finally invested in this, but with a twist. He created the Bank of Brazil as a private institution, not a national or a public institution. Keep that in mind because I am gonna certainly revisit this topic in other videos, as well as I'm also gonna talk about the Caixa Econômica Federal, which is something that tourists look at and they're like, what is that? I am gonna talk about that in future videos. Stay tuned. This private bank called the Bank of Brazil grew into the biggest enterprise of the banking field in all of the empire of Brazil. This is how good of a businessman the Baron of Mauá was. No wonder he is so well known worldwide. If I were you, I'd be taking notes. Clarifying another thing, he went down in history as the Baron of Mauá, but it's actually quite a disservice to him because although he did receive the title of Baron after building the first railroad ever in South America, 20 years later, because of his many contributions to the economy of Brazil, he received the title of Viscount. So the more correct thing would be to call him the Viscount of Mauá. But his title of Baron was so famous that to this day, if you ask someone in Brazil about the Viscount of Mauá, they're probably going to say, what, who? But if you ask about the Baron of Mauá, then they will know. This concludes this video about the Viscount, I should say, of Mauá, Irineu Evangelista de Souza. I hope you liked the video, and if you did like the video, be sure to hit that like button, then after that, hit that subscribe button, then after that, most importantly, click multiple times on that share button so that you can share this video with as many people as you possibly can, so that each time more people may know about the wonders of the wonderful city. And as usual in this channel, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!